I married a human to survive. That's what I told myself when I signed the contract 3 months ago. When the council dragged me into that cold stone room and gave me two choices: bond with an alpha from the royal pack or marry outside the species entirely. They thought I'd choose the alpha. Everyone did. But I looked at the list of names, alphas who'd circled me at every gathering, whose eyes tracked my scent like predators, and I couldn't breathe. So I said the only thing that made sense: I'll take the human. The room went silent. Then someone laughed. "The boy's lost his mind," one of the councilmen muttered, now standing in the doorway of our shared apartment in downtown Portland. I wonder if I made the worst mistake of my life. Dimitri doesn't look up when I enter. He never does. He's sitting at the kitchen table with a book, his dark hair falling across his forehead, his fingers turning pages with the kind of careful precision that always unsettles me. There's no scent rolling off him, no pheromones, no territorial claim. Just the faint smell of coffee and something clean, like rain. It should be comforting. It's not. "You're late," he says quietly, still not looking at me. I had to stop by the council office. I dropped my bag by the door, trying to keep my voice steady. They wanted to check in, make sure the arrangement is working. "And what did you tell them?" "That it's fine." He closes the book. Slowly. Then he lifts his head, and those pale gray eyes meet mine. There's something in his gaze, I can't name, something that makes my pulse skip, even though there's no alpha command behind it, no biological weight pressing down on me. "You're a terrible liar," he says. My breath catches. "I'm not. You've been avoiding me for 2 weeks. He stands, and I have to fight the urge to step back. He's not tall, maybe 5 to 10, just 2 inches taller than me, but there's something about the way he moves that feels deliberate, controlled. "You leave before I wake up. You come home after I'm asleep, and when we're in the same room, you look at me like I'm going to hurt you. I don't. Do I scare you?" The question hangs in the air between us. I want to say no. I want to laugh and tell him he's being ridiculous, that a human could never frighten an omega who's survived 3 rejection ceremonies and a pack ambush, that I've faced down alphas twice his size. But my mouth won't form the words. Because the truth is, Dmitri terrifies me in a way no alpha ever has. "No," I finally whisper. And even I can hear the lie. He takes a step closer. Then another. I press my back against the door, my heart hammering so loud I'm sure he can hear it. My hand instinctively goes to the collar of my shirt, a nervous habit I've had since I presented as Omega at 16. Humans aren't supposed to affect us like this. They don't have the scent, the presence, the... "Then why?" he says softly, stopping just inches away. "Did you flinch when I touched your hand last week? Because your skin was warm?" And I didn't want to pull away. Because for 3 seconds I forgot you weren't mine. Because I'm not supposed to feel anything for you, and I'm starting to, and it's breaking every rule I know. "I didn't flinch," I say instead, my voice rougher than I intended. His expression doesn't change, but something flickers in his eyes. Disappointment, maybe. Or recognition. "Okay," he says quietly, stepping back. "Then let's try this. Tomorrow night, the council is hosting a dinner. They want to see us together. As a couple." My stomach drops. "Dimitri, I can't. You don't have a choice. Neither do I." He picks up his coffee mug, his movements calm, unbothered. "We signed a contract. We play the part, or they annul the marriage, and you go back to the pack." He's right. I know he's right. But the thought of standing in a room full of alphas, with Dimitri at my side, pretending we're something real. "They'll tear you apart," I blurt out. He pauses, the mug halfway to his lips. "Excuse me? Blood Tomalos in 1940, the alphas. They're going to be there, and they..." I swallow hard, running a hand through my hair, trying to find words that don't sound insane. "They don't like you. They don't like that I chose you. That a male Omega picked a human over them. And if they get the chance, let them try." The words are so quiet I almost miss them. But the tone, cold, sharp, final, makes my breath stop. I stare at him. At this human who spends his days reading in coffee shops and never raises his voice and moves through the world like he's trying not to take up space. And for just a second, I see something else beneath the surface, something that makes my instincts scream. Dimitri, I'll pick you up at 7, he says, turning away. Wear something nice. Then he walks into his room and closes the door, leaving me standing there with my pulse racing and a question I can't answer burning in my chest. What are you? I don't sleep that night. Instead, I lie in bed and replay every interaction I've had with Dmitri since the wedding, the way he signed the contract without hesitation, the way he never asks about my heats or my scent or any of the things alphas obsess over, the way he looks at me sometimes like he's reading a language I don't know I'm speaking, and I remember something else. The day we met at the council office to finalize the paperwork. I was early. Dmitri was already there, sitting in the waiting room with his hands folded in his lap. And when Alpha Konstantin walked past, the same Konstantin who'd cornered me at a gathering 2 months prior, who'd grabbed my wrist and whispered what he'd do once I was his, Konstantin stopped. He looked at Dmitri. Just looked. And then he turned around and left without a word. At the time, I thought it was a coincidence, that maybe Konstantin had somewhere else to be. But now, lying here in the dark, I can't stop thinking about the look on Konstantin's face. It wasn't anger, it wasn't confusion. It was fear. I sit up in bed, my sheets tangled around my legs, and that realization settles into my bones like ice water. Konstantin, an alpha who once made 3 omegas, dropped to their knees just by walking into a room, looked at my human husband, and felt fear. The thought should be impossible. Humans don't inspire fear in alphas. They're beneath us in the hierarchy, tolerated at best, ignored at worst. They're soft, breakable. They don't have the strength or the scent or the... My bedroom door opens. I freeze, my breath catching in my throat. Dimitri stands in the doorway, backlit by the dim hallway light. He's wearing a plain white t-shirt and dark sleep pants. His hair slightly mussed. He looks tired. Normal. Harmless. You're awake, he says quietly. My voice comes out rough. I clear my throat. Yeah, I heard you moving around. He doesn't step inside, just leans against the doorframe. Thought you might want water or something. There's a glass in his hand. I hadn't even noticed. I'm fine, I say automatically. He studies me for a long moment, those gray eyes, unreadable in the darkness. Then he crosses the room, slow, deliberate, and sets the glass on my nightstand. The mattress dips slightly as he sits on the edge of my bed, and every nerve in my body goes taut. You're thinking too loud, he says. I'm not. You are. His voice is soft, almost gentle. You've been staring at me since I walked in like you're trying to solve a puzzle. Because you are a puzzle. Because nothing about you makes sense. Because I can't figure out if you're the safest person I've ever met or the most dangerous. I start, but he raises a hand. Not commanding. Just stopping me. Ask, he says simply. My heart hammers against my ribs. Ask what? Whatever question is eating at you. He tilts his head slightly, and the movement is so casual, it makes my chest tighten. You won't sleep until you do. I should say nothing. I should thank him for the water and wait for him to leave. But my mouth opens before my brain catches up. Why did Konstantin walk away? Silence. Dimitri doesn't move, doesn't blink. Just watches me with those impossibly calm eyes. When? He finally asks, though we both know he understands exactly what I mean. At the council office. 3 months ago. I pull my knees up to my chest, wrapping my arms around them. He looked at you and left. Alpha Konstantin, who's never backed down from anyone, just turned around and walked away. Maybe he had somewhere to be. Don't. The word comes out sharper than I intend. Don't lie to me. Not about this. Something shifts in his expression. Not anger, not defensiveness. Just a quiet kind of acknowledgement. Like I've finally said something he's been waiting to hear. He walked away, Dimitri says slowly. Because I asked him to. My blood goes cold. What? Not out loud. He leans back slightly, his hands resting on his knees. But Konstantin is smart enough to understand certain things. Body language, tone, the way someone looks at what's theirs. What's theirs? The words hit me like a physical blow. I stare at him, my pulse roaring in my ears. I'm not yours, I whisper. No, he agrees. You're not. Then why? Because you were terrified. His voice drops. And for the first time since I've known him, there's an edge to it. Something sharp beneath the softness. You signed that contract with your hands shaking. You barely looked at me during the ceremony. And when we left the building, you flinched every time someone got too close. He's right. God, he's right. I was terrified. I still am. So I made sure, he continues, his eyes never leaving mine, that anyone who might hurt you understood they'd have to go through me first. The air between us feels too thick to breathe. I want to argue, to tell him that's insane, that a human can't protect an omega from alphas, that he has no idea what he's talking about. But I can't. Because some part of me, some deep primal part, believes him. You're human, I say instead, and it sounds weak even to my own ears. I am. You don't have a pack. You don't have alpha strength, or I don't need them. The quiet certainty in his voice makes my stomach flip. I search his face for arrogance, for bravado, for anything that would make sense. But all I see is truth. Who are you? The question slips out before I can stop it. Really? He stands, and the loss of his weight on the mattress feels like a physical absence. When he looks down at me, there's something almost sad in his expression. Someone who keeps his promises, he says softly. That's all you need to know. He turns to leave, and panic flares in my chest. I don't know why. I don't know what I'm afraid of losing. But my hand shoots out, catching his wrist before I can think better of it. His skin is warm, solid, real. Dmitri, he stops. Doesn't pull away, just stands there, waiting. Tomorrow night, I say quietly. At the dinner. If they try something, they won't. How can you be so sure? He turns his head slightly, just enough that I can see his profile in the darkness. And when he speaks, his voice is barely above a whisper. Because they remember what happens when someone touches what I've claimed. Then he's gone, the door clicking shut behind him. And I'm left sitting in the dark with my hands still outstretched and a truth I can't escape burning in my mind. Dimitri isn't afraid of the alphas. The alphas are afraid of him. I can't move. Can't breathe. The words echo in my head like a drumbeat, each repetition making less and less sense. My hand is still suspended in the air, where I'd grabbed his wrist, my fingers tingling from the warmth of his skin. What I've claimed. He said it so casually. Like it was a fact. Like I was. No. I throw off the blankets and stand, my legs unsteady beneath me. The room feels too small suddenly, the walls pressing in. I need air. I need space. I need to understand what the hell is happening. But my feet carry me to the door instead. To his door. I shouldn't. I know I shouldn't. Every rational thought screaming at me to go back to bed, to leave this alone, to stop asking questions I might not want answered. My knuckles rap against the wood before I can stop myself. It's open. Dimitri's voice calls from inside. Of course it is. I push the door open slowly. His room is almost bare, just a bed, a dresser, and a single bookshelf crammed with volumes I can't read from here. He's sitting on the edge of his bed, still in that white t-shirt, his hands clasped loosely between his knees. Like he'd been waiting for me. What did you mean? The words tumble out. When you said, what I've claimed? He doesn't look surprised. Doesn't even look up. Just stares at his hands with that same unsettling calm. Exactly what it sounded like. I'm not. My voice cracks. I step inside, my hands curling into fists at my sides. We signed a contract, a legal arrangement. That's all this is it? 2 words. That's all it takes to make my world tilt. Yes, I insist, but my voice wavers. Then why are you here? He finally lifts his head, and the look in his eyes pins me in place. Why aren't you in your room, accepting my answer and moving on? Because I can't. Because something about you doesn't make sense, and it's driving me insane. Because when you touched me earlier, I didn't want you to let go. I need to understand. I say instead, I need to know what you are. I need to know what you are. I need to know what you are. I told you, I'm someone who keeps his promises. That's not an answer. My voice comes out louder than I intended, rough with frustration. Dimitri's expression doesn't change, but something in the air shifts, thickens. You want the truth? He stands, and even though he's only slightly taller than me, I feel small. Fine, but you won't like it. He crosses the room in 3 strides. I should back up, should put distance between us. But my body won't cooperate, and then he's right there, close enough that I can see the gold flecks in his gray eyes. When I signed that contract, he says quietly, I didn't do it as a favor. I didn't do it because I felt sorry for you. I did it because the moment I saw you walk into that council office, shaking, terrified, trying so hard to look brave, something in me decided you were mine to protect. My breath stops. That's insane, I whisper. Probably. You don't even know me. I know enough. His voice drops lower, and I can feel the words against my skin. I know you chose me because you were desperate. I know you think I'm safe because I'm human. And I know you're standing here right now, asking questions you're afraid of because some part of you already knows the answer, which is that I meant what I said. His eyes don't leave mine. You're under my protection, and anyone who tries to hurt you will have to answer to me. The words should sound ridiculous, should sound like empty bravado from a human who doesn't understand the world he's living in, but they don't. Alpha Konstantin, I say, my voice barely audible. What did you do to him? Something flickers across Dimitri's face. Not quite a smile. Not quite anything I can name. I reminded him of something he'd forgotten. What? That there are worse things than alphas in this world. The temperature in the room seems to drop. I stare at him, at this man who moves like he's trying not to take up space, who reads in coffee shops and never raises his voice. And I see it again, that thing beneath the surface. That shadow. You're scaring me, I admit. I know. His hand lifts slowly, giving me time to pull away. When I don't, his fingers brush against my jaw, feather-light. But you're still here. He's right. I'm still here. Still standing so close I can feel the heat radiating from his body. Still looking into his eyes like they might hold answers to questions I haven't even formed yet. Why? The word comes out broken. Why would you protect someone you don't know? His thumb traces along my jawline, and my eyes flutter closed without permission. The touch is gentle, reverent, nothing like the way alphas handle omegas all possession and demand. Because, he murmurs, and his voice is so soft I have to strain to hear it. Every time you look at me, you don't see a threat. You see a choice you made, and I'll burn this whole kingdom down before I let you regret choosing me. My eyes snap open. He's watching me with an intensity that makes my knees weak. Not with alpha dominance, not with omega instinct, with something else entirely. Something human and terrible and utterly consuming. Tomorrow night, he says, his hand still cradling my face. When we walk into that dinner, every alpha in that room will know exactly what you are to me. And if any of them are stupid enough to test it, he leans in, his lips brushing against my ear. They'll learn why their ancestors feared humans first. The words sink into my skin like a brand. I can feel his breath against my ear, warm and steady, while my own comes in shallow gasps. My heart is racing so fast I'm dizzy with it, and I don't know if it's fear or something far more dangerous. What does that mean? My voice shakes. Dmitri pulls back, just enough to look at me, his hand still cradling my jaw. His thumb brushes across my cheekbone, and the gentleness of it contradicts everything he just said. It means, he says softly, that your people forgot something important when they evolved beyond us. What? That humans survived for a reason. The words hang between us, heavy with implication. I want to ask more, want to demand answers, but his eyes have gone distant, like he's seeing something I can't. And the expression on his face makes my throat tight. Dimitri, do you know what the first alphas did? His voice is quiet, almost conversational, but there's an edge to it that raises the hair on the back of my neck. When they first presented, when they realized they were stronger, faster, more powerful than everyone else, I shake my head, not trusting my voice. They hunted. His fingers trace down my jaw to my throat, resting gently over my pulse point. Not threatening, just aware. Humans, omegas, anyone weaker. They took what they wanted because they could, because nature gave them the tools, and no one could stop them. My pulse hammers beneath his touch. But then, he continues, and now there's something almost like a smile on his lips, cold and sharp. Humans did something alphas never expected. They adapted. I swallow hard. That's just evolution. Biology. No. His eyes lock onto mine, and the intensity in them steals my breath. Evolution is slow, passive. What humans did was survive by any means necessary, and when you're weaker than your predator, you don't fight fair. You fight smart. His hand slides from my throat to the back of my neck, fingers tangling gently in my hair. The gesture is intimate, possessive. Everything about it should make me pull away. I don't. You learn where they're vulnerable, he whispers. You study their patterns. You wait for the perfect moment. And then, his grip tightens just slightly, not painful, but firm, grounding. You make sure they never forget what happens when they underestimate you. You're talking about killing. The words come out flat. Shocked. I'm talking about survival. That's not. I try to step back, but his hand in my hair keeps me close. Not forcing, just holding. Alphas aren't predators anymore. We have laws, society, the council. The council, he interrupts gently, exists because humans made it necessary. Because enough alphas disappeared in the old days that the survivors decided rules were safer than extinction. My blood runs cold. You're saying humans hunted alphas. I'm saying humans protected themselves. And they're omegas. His eyes search mine. Do you really think your ancestors survived by hoping alphas would be kind? I can't answer. Can't think. Every history lesson I learned growing up, every story about how society evolved, suddenly feels incomplete, like there's a whole chapter missing that no one wants to talk about. That's impossible, I finally manage. Humans don't have the strength. Strength isn't everything. His voice is still soft, but there's steel beneath it now. Your Alpha Konstantin, he has strength, he has scent, he has dominance. But when he looked at me, do you know what he saw? I shake my head. He saw someone who doesn't fight by alpha rules. Dimitri's hand slides from my hair to cup my face again. Both hands now, holding me like I'm something precious and breakable. Someone who won't challenge him for dominance or territory. Someone who'll smile and nod and wait until his guard is down. And that, his forehead presses against mine. That terrifies him more than any alpha ever could. You're saying you'd... I can't finish the sentence. Can't voice what he's implying. I'm saying I keep my promises. His breath mingles with mine. And I promise to protect you. Not within the law. Not within alpha rules. Not within anything except what I'm capable of. My hands come up between us, pressing against his chest. Not pushing him away, just touching. Feeling the steady beat of his heart beneath my palms. He's warm, solid, real, and absolutely terrifying. I don't understand you, I whisper. I know. I don't know if I should run from you or. The word hangs there, and I realize with a jolt that I don't know how to finish that sentence. Or trust you, or kiss you, or let you keep making promises that sound like threats, and threats that sound like devotion. Or believe you, I finally say. Something in his expression softens. His thumbs brush beneath my eyes, and I realize my hands are shaking against his chest. You don't have to do either, he says quietly. Not yet. Just... He hesitates, and for the first time since I met him, he looks uncertain. Vulnerable. Just don't ask me to stop protecting you, because I can't, even if you wanted me to. Why? The question is barely a breath. Why me? His eyes close for a moment, like the answer costs him something. When they open again, there's something raw in them, something that makes my chest ache. Because when you walked into that council office, he says slowly, and chose me over every alpha in that room, you gave me something I'd forgotten existed. What? Purpose. The word hits me like a physical blow. I stare at him, at this human, who speaks about hunting alphas and survival and protection, like they're all the same thing. And I realize with sudden, perfect clarity, I'm not afraid of Dmitri. I'm afraid of how much I want to believe him. The realization crashes through me like a wave. And suddenly I'm too aware of everything, his hands on my face, the heat of his body inches from mine, the way my fingers are still pressed against his chest like I'm trying to memorize his heartbeat. Purpose, I repeat, and the word tastes strange in my mouth. That's what I am to you? A purpose? His jaw tightens. That's not what I... Then what? I push harder against his chest now, not enough to move him, but enough to create space between the truth and my heart. What am I, Dimitri? A responsibility? A contract? Some broken omega you decided to fix? No. The word comes out sharp, and his hands drop from my face like I've burned him. He steps back, and the sudden absence of his warmth makes me want to reach for him again. I don't. Then explain it to me, I demand, my voice cracking. Because everything you're saying sounds like I'm some kind of mission. Like protecting me gives your life meaning, and that's supposed to make me feel I break off, pressing my palms against my eyes. God, I don't even know what I'm supposed to feel. Silence stretches between us. When I finally lower my hands, Dmitri is watching me with an expression I can't read. Something between pain and understanding, and something else entirely. You want honesty? He asks quietly. Yes. Even if it makes everything worse? My throat tightens, but I nod. He moves to his window, putting distance between us. His shoulders are tense beneath that thin white shirt, and for a long moment, he just stares out at the city lights of Portland, bleeding through the glass. I was married before, he says finally. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. I hadn't expected that. Hadn't expected anything like that. My voice comes out hoarse. To another omega? To a human. He doesn't turn around. Her name was Irina. We met in Belgrade. Before I came to the States, before I knew anything about alphas or omegas or any of this, something cold settles in my stomach. I don't want to hear this. Don't want to know about her. But I can't make myself leave. What happened? The question slips out before I can stop it. His reflection in the window is ghostly, hollow. And Alpha decided he wanted her. White. The temperature in the room drops. She said no. Dimitri continues, his voice flat. Empty. Multiple times. But he was an alpha, and she was human. And in his mind, that meant her no was just... He stops, his hand forming a fist against the window frame. Just a formality. My chest constricts. Dimitri. I came home and found her on our kitchen floor. His voice is still that same terrible monotone. She was still breathing, still conscious. And the alpha was still there, standing over her, asking why she'd made him do it. Why she couldn't just cooperate. I can't breathe. Can't move. Can't do anything except listen to the nightmare spilling from his lips. I didn't challenge him, Dimitri says softly. Didn't try to fight him fairly. I just... He finally turns to look at me, and his eyes are empty. Dead. I made sure he never hurt anyone again. And then I made sure everyone in that pack knew exactly what happened to alphas, who think humans are easy prey. Jesus, I whisper. The council found out. Eventually, they gave me a choice: leave the region or face trial for killing an alpha. His laugh is bitter. They didn't care what he'd done, just that I'd broken their precious hierarchy. So you came here. So I came here, he confirms. And I stayed quiet, stayed invisible, let them think I'd learned my lesson. He crosses the room again, but this time he stops just out of reach. And then you walked into that council office, and I saw the same look in your eyes that Irina had. That terror, that desperate search for any way out. Tears burn behind my eyes. I'm not her. I know. His voice cracks on the words. God, I know you're not. But when you chose me, when you looked at me like maybe I could be safe, I couldn't. He runs a hand through his hair, the gesture frustrated and raw. I couldn't let you down. Couldn't be the person who promised protection and failed. Not again. So that's what this is? The tears spill over now, hot against my cheeks. I'm your second chance? Your redemption? No. He closes the distance between us in 2 strides, and suddenly his hands are on my shoulders, his eyes burning into mine. You're not my redemption. You're not Irina. You're not a mission or a purpose or any of those things. Then what? I'm shaking now, my whole body trembling with the weight of everything he's told me. His grip tightens on my shoulders, and when he speaks, his voice is rough, raw, stripped of every careful layer he usually wears. You're the first person in 3 years who made me want to be human again, he says. Not a weapon, not a ghost, not something the alphas whisper about in the dark. Just a man who wants to protect someone because they chose him, because they trusted him. Because when you look at me, you don't see a monster. I don't know what I see, I whisper. I know. His forehead drops to mine, and his breath is shaky against my lips. And I know I'm asking too much, telling you too much. But tomorrow night, when we walk into that dinner, his voice drops even lower. I need you to trust me. Even if you don't understand, even if I scare you, because I will protect you, and I won't do it gently. My hands come up to grip his wrists, holding on like he's the only solid thing in a world that's tilting. Show me. I breathe. His eyes snap to mine. What? Show me what they're afraid of. The words hang between us, reckless and desperate. Dmitri goes completely still, his wrists tense beneath my grip, his eyes searching mine like he's trying to determine if I mean it. You don't want that, he says quietly. Yes, I do. No. His voice hardens. You think you do. But what you're asking? I'm asking you to stop hiding. My fingers tighten on his wrists. You've told me what you are, what you've done, and I'm still standing here. So show me. Let me see what Konstantin saw. What made an alpha turn around and walk away? His eyes darken. Something shifts in his expression, not anger, not violence, but something colder, more controlled. If I do this, he says slowly, you don't get to unsee it. I know. And tomorrow night, when we're at that dinner, you'll understand exactly what kind of man you married. My heart hammers against my ribs, but I don't look away. Show me. For a long moment, he doesn't move. Then his hands slide from my shoulders down my arms, slow and deliberate, until he's gripping my wrists the same way I'm gripping his. The pressure is gentle, controlled, but there's a promise in it that he could make it hurt if he wanted to. He doesn't. Turn around, he says softly. Everything in me screams that this is dangerous, that I should walk away right now, go back to my room, and pretend this conversation never happened. But my body obeys before my mind catches up, turning until my back is to him. His hands release my wrists. The loss of contact makes me shiver. What you need to understand, Dimitri says from behind me, his voice low and measured, is that alphas fight with instinct, with dominance. They rely on their scent, their strength, their ability to make omegas submit through biology. I can feel him moving behind me, circling slowly. My pulse jumps. But humans? He's to my left now, just at the edge of my peripheral vision. We don't have any of that, so we learn to fight differently. I'd come to cis. How? My voice comes out breathless. By understanding that every strength is also a weakness. He's behind me again, and I can feel the heat of him even though he's not touching me. Alphas are stronger? That makes them overconfident. They have enhanced senses? That makes them predictable. They need to dominate? That makes them blind to threats they don't consider worthy. His hand touches the back of my neck, feather-light, barely there, and I gasp. You feel that? He murmurs. That's your most vulnerable point. One of them, anyway. Alphas know it instinctively. They go for the neck, the scent glands, the places that trigger submission. It's biological. His fingers trace down my spine, and I'm shaking now. Not from fear, from something else entirely. But I'm not an alpha, he continues, his breath warm against my ear. I don't need you to submit. I just need you to trust me. The word catches in my throat. When Konstantin looked at me, Dmitri says quietly, his hand still resting between my shoulder blades. He didn't see a rival. He saw someone who was watching him, really watching, cataloging every move, every tell, every moment of distraction. And he realized. His hand presses slightly harder, and I feel the controlled strength in it, that if I wanted to hurt him, he'd never see it coming. My breath is coming in short gasps now. How? Because alphas expect confrontation. They expect challenge. They expect you to meet their eyes and bare your teeth and fight for dominance. His other hand comes to rest on my hip, steadying me. But I would never do that. I'd wait. I'd smile. I'd let him think he'd won. And then, his hand moves from my spine to my throat, wrapping gently around it from behind, not choking, not threatening, just there. A reminder of how fragile the human body is, how easily it breaks. When he was at his most vulnerable, Dmitri whispers against my ear. I'd make sure he understood that dominance means nothing against someone who doesn't follow your rules. I should be terrified. Every instinct should be screaming at me to get away from this man who's casually describing how he'd kill an alpha. But instead, I'm leaning back into him, my head tilting to give him better access to my throat, my body betraying everything my mind knows should be true. That's what Konstantin saw, Dimitri says, his thumb brushing over my pulse point. Not a threat, a certainty. He looked at me and knew, absolutely knew that if he touched you, if he hurt you, if he so much as made you uncomfortable, I would find a way to end him. Not in a challenge, not in a fair fight, but in a way that would make every other alpha in this kingdom think twice before they decided human law didn't apply to them. His hand tightens infinitesimally on my throat, and heat floods through me. Is this what you wanted to see? His voice is rough now, strained. This is what I am. Not a protector, not a hero. Just someone who learned how to survive in a world that decided I wasn't worth protecting. And now, his forehead presses against the back of my head. Now I use those same skills to make sure no one ever hurts you. Even if it makes me a monster. Nost. I'm trembling. My whole body is shaking with the weight of what he's showing me, what he's confessing, and the most terrifying part isn't that I'm afraid. It's that I'm not. You're not a monster, I whisper. His hand falls away from my throat. Then you're not looking close enough. I turn in his arms, forcing him to look at me. His eyes are wild, haunted, waiting for me to recoil. I cup his face instead. Maybe I don't want to look close enough. I breathe. Maybe I just want to believe you. His eyes widen slightly, and for the first time since I've known him, Dmitri looks genuinely shocked. My hands are still cupping his face, my thumbs brushing against his cheekbones, and I can feel the tension radiating through him like a live wire. You don't know what you're saying, he whispers. Yes, I do. No. He tries to pull back, but my hands tighten, keeping him close. You're overwhelmed. You're scared. I'm choosing you. The words come out fierce, certain. Again, just like I did 3 months ago, just like I'll do tomorrow night. So stop trying to talk me out of it. His breath catches. His hands come up to cover mine, and I expect him to pull them away from his face. Instead, he holds them there, his fingers threading through mine, pressing my palms harder against his skin like he needs the contact to remember this is real. Why? The question sounds broken. After everything I just told you, after what I showed you, why would you? Because every alpha I've ever met has told me I'm theirs. I interrupt, my voice shaking. They've used their scent, their strength, their biology, to try and make me submit, to make me believe I don't have a choice. But you, my vision blurs with tears I won't let fall. You gave me a choice. You are a choice. And I'm so tired of being something people claim without asking. His forehead drops to mine, and I can feel him trembling now too. I'm not good, he says hoarsely. I'm not. I can't be what you need. You're already what I need. The words slip out before I can stop them, raw and honest and terrifying. You're the only person who's ever made me feel safe and dangerous at the same time. The only one who looks at me like I'm worth protecting not because of what I am, but because of who I chose to be. God. He breathes, and then his lips are on mine. The kiss is nothing like I expected. It's not gentle, not careful. It's desperate and hungry and tasting like 3 months of restraint finally snapping. His hands slide into my hair, tilting my head back, and I make a sound I've never made before, half gasp, half surrender. My fingers fist in his shirt, pulling him closer, needing more contact, more heat, more of whatever this is that's burning through me. He responds immediately, backing me up until my spine hits the wall, his body pressing against mine in a way that should feel confining, but instead feels like finally being able to breathe. Tell me to stop. He gasps against my mouth, his hands framing my face. Tell me this is too fast and I'll... Don't stop. I pull him back down, and this time when our lips meet, it's softer, slower, like he's trying to memorize the taste of me, the feel of me, the way I'm completely falling apart in his arms. His thumb brushes across my cheekbone, and I realize I'm crying. Actually, crying. 3 months of fear and loneliness, and pretending I'm fine, all spilling out while Dmitri kisses me like I'm the only thing in the world that matters. I've got you, he murmurs against my lips. I've got you, I promise. And I believe him. God help me. I believe him. But then his phone buzzes on the nightstand, shrill and insistent, and we both freeze. He pulls back just enough to look at the screen, and I watch his expression shift from soft to cold in a heartbeat. What is it? I ask. A message from the council. His voice is flat, controlled. About tomorrow night. And? His jaw tightens. They've added 3 more alphas to the guest list, including Konstantin. The name hits me like ice water. What? They're testing us. He sets the phone down, carefully, his movements too precise. They want to see how we react, whether the marriage is legitimate or just a loophole I'm exploiting to protect you. But we signed a contract. We did everything. They don't care about the contract. His eyes meet mine, and there's that cold certainty again, that promise of violence barely held in check. They care about the hierarchy, about making sure alphas stay at the top and omegas remember their place. And you, his hand comes up to cup my face again, gentle despite the fury in his eyes. You disrupted that. You chose a human over them, and they're going to punish us both for it. Fear crawls up my spine. How? By putting you in a room with alphas who think you made the wrong choice, he says quietly. By letting them circle and challenge and test until you break, until you admit the marriage was a mistake and submit to one of them instead. I won't. The words come out immediately, fierce. I won't submit. I won't. I know. He kisses me again, brief and reassuring. I know you won't, but they're going to try anyway. And when they do, his voice drops to that dangerous whisper. I need you to stay close to me. Don't let them separate us. Don't engage with their challenges. And if Konstantin tries to touch you, what? I whisper. His eyes are ice. Let him. I jerk back. What? Let him think he can. Dimitri corrects, his hands sliding down to grip the back of my neck. Not threatening, grounding. Let him get close enough that every alpha in that room sees it. And then, a cold smile touches his lips. Let me show them exactly what happens when someone breaks the one rule I have, which is, you're mine. His thumb brushes over my pulse point. And anyone who forgets that doesn't get a second chance to remember. The possessiveness in his voice should scare me. Should make me argue that I'm not his, not anyone's, that I'm my own person who makes my own choices. But all I can think is, yes, finally. Yes. The thought echoes in my head, and I can't take it back. Can't pretend I didn't just accept the most dangerous thing Dimitri's ever offered me. Not protection, but possession. The kind that comes with teeth. Say it again, I whisper before I can stop myself. His eyes snap to mine, sharp and focused. Say what? That I'm yours. My heart is hammering so hard I can barely breathe. I need to hear it again. My heart by two place. My heart by two place. Something flickers across his face, surprise maybe, or something darker. His hand tightens on the back of my neck, pulling me closer until there's no space between us, until I can feel every word against my lips. You're mine, he says, low and deliberate. Not because of the contract, not because you needed an escape, but because the moment you chose me, I decided no one else would ever get the chance. The words should sound controlling. Possessive. Wrong. They sound like a vow. I'm yours. I breathe back, testing the words on my tongue. They feel strange, reckless, right. His eyes close briefly, like the admission costs him something. When they open, there's heat there, the kind I've never seen from him before. Want. Raw and unfiltered. We should sleep, he says roughly, but he doesn't let go of me. Tomorrow's going to be. I don't want to sleep. My hands slide up his chest, feeling his heartbeat racing beneath my palms. I want to stay right here and pretend tomorrow isn't coming. It's coming whether we're ready or not. Then help me be ready. I grip his shirt, desperate. Show me how to survive tomorrow night. Show me how to stand in a room full of alphas and not break. You won't break. His conviction is absolute. You're stronger than any of them realize. I don't feel strong. The confession slips out. I feel terrified. Good. His thumb traces my jawline. Fear keeps you sharp. It's not weakness, it's survival. Every human who lived long enough to have children knew that. He leans in, his lips brushing my ear. So tomorrow when Konstantin looks at you, I want you to remember something. What? That you survived him before. You survived every alpha who ever tried to claim you. And now, his breath is warm against my skin. You have something they never expected you'd have. What's that? Someone who'll burn the world down if they touch you. A shiver runs through me. Not fear. Something else entirely. You can't actually. I start, but he pulls back to look at me, and the expression on his face stops the words in my throat. Can't I? It's not a question. It's a promise. You think I'm exaggerating, that I'm being dramatic or possessive or whatever you want to call it, but I need you to understand something. His hands frame my face, forcing me to meet his eyes. Irina died because I hesitated, because I tried to do things the right way. I reported the Alpha to the council. I filed complaints. I followed their rules. And while I was being a good citizen, she was bleeding out on our kitchen floor. Dmitri. So no. He cuts me off, his voice hard. I can't risk that again. I won't. Which means tomorrow night, if anyone Alpha, council member, anyone tries to hurt you, I'm not asking permission. I'm not following protocol. I'm ending the threat, permanently. The casual way he says it makes my blood run cold and hot at the same time. You'll start a war. Then I'll start a war. No hesitation. No doubt. Let them come. Let every alpha in this kingdom try to stop me. They'll learn what their ancestors learned, that humans are only weak until you give them a reason not to be. I stare at him, at this man who kisses me like I'm precious and talks about killing alphas like it's inevitable. And I realize something that should terrify me but doesn't. I want him to mean it. I want him to be exactly as dangerous as he's claiming. Because every alpha I've ever known has promised to protect me while using that promise as leverage, as control. But Dimitri's offering protection without asking for anything in return, except my belief. What do I do? I ask quietly. Tomorrow. When we walk in, what's my role? Les krasig des fime. Stay close. His hands slide down to my shoulders. Don't respond to challenges. Don't engage with their provocations. And if Konstantin approaches, let him think he can touch me. I finish. You said that already, but I don't understand why. Because the council needs proof. His expression goes cold. They need to see an alpha break protocol, touch a claimed omega without permission. And when he does, a smile touches his lips, sharp as broken glass. I'll have every legal right to defend my husband. Husband. The word shouldn't affect me like it does. We've been married for 3 months, but he's never called me that before. Never claimed me out loud in a way that makes it real. You've never called me that, I whisper. What? Your husband? My voice cracks. You always say the omega, or my contract, or because I didn't want to push. His forehead drops to mine. I didn't want you to feel trapped, but if we're doing this, if we're really walking into that room tomorrow and making them see us, then I need them to know exactly what you are to me. What am I? Everything. The word is barely a breath. You're everything I thought I'd lost when Irina died. Purpose, hope, a reason to be something other than a weapon. His hands tighten on my shoulders. So yes, you're my husband. And tomorrow night, I'm going to make sure every alpha in that room knows it. Tears burn behind my eyes again. What if they hurt you? They won't. You can't know that. Yes, I can. Because I've been planning for this since the day you chose me. The words hang between us, heavy with implication. Planning what? I whisper. How to win a war I knew was coming. The words settle into my bones like truth, and I realize with perfect clarity that Dmitri has been 3 steps ahead this entire time. That every quiet moment, every careful word, every second of seeming passivity was just him waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Then let's win it, I say. His eyes flash with something fierce and proud. That's my husband. The council hall is exactly as suffocating as I remember, all dark wood and stone, designed to make omegas feel small. The chandeliers cast shadows that seem to move, and the air is thick with competing alpha scents, each one trying to dominate the space. Dimitri's hand rests on the small of my back as we enter, warm and steady. He's wearing a simple black suit that somehow makes him look both elegant and dangerous. I'm in dark gray, neutral, unmemorable, exactly what he told me to wear. Blend in until it's time not to, he'd said while adjusting my collar earlier. Let them underestimate us. Every head turns when we walk in. I feel the weight of their stares, the calculation in their eyes. The council members sit at the head table, their expressions ranging from curious to hostile. And there, standing near the bar with a glass of whiskey, Konstantin. He's exactly as I remember. Tall, broad-shouldered, with the kind of classical alpha features that make omegas instinctively lower their eyes. His scent rolls across the room, pine and smoke and dominance, and I feel several omegas near me shiver. I don't. Because Dimitri's hand presses slightly harder against my spine, a reminder. I've got you. Looks clued. I'm under Kalater open Dmitri. Our newlyweds, Council Elder Miroslav announces, his voice carrying across the hall. Please, join us. We're eager to see how. Domestic life suits you both. The words are polite. The subtext is venom. Dmitri guides me to our assigned seats deliberately placed between 2 alpha couples, isolating us, strategic. They want us surrounded. Wine? A server appears at my elbow. But before I can answer, Dmitri intercepts the glass. Water for both of us, he says quietly. Thank you. The server blinks, surprised, but nods and disappears. I glance at Dmitri, confused. Clear head, he murmurs against my ear. Always. Dinner progresses in tense increments. The alphas make conversation that sounds casual, but isn't pointed questions about our living arrangements, our relationship, whether I'm satisfied with my choice. Each question designed to humiliate, to make me doubt. Dmitri deflects every single one with calm precision, never rising to their bait. And then Konstantin stands. I'd like to propose a toast, he says, his voice smooth. Practiced. He walks toward our table, glass in hand, and I feel Dmitri go utterly still beside me. To our dear friend here, he gestures at me with his glass. Who made such an interesting choice in spouse? The room holds its breath. After all, Konstantin continues, stopping directly behind my chair. We all know omegas need strong protection, real protection, not. His hand lands on my shoulder, heavy and possessive. Whatever a human can provide, the touch burns, not with heat but with violation, with the assumption that he has the right. Remove your hand, Dmitri says quietly. Konstantin laughs. Or what? He doesn't finish the sentence, because Dmitri moves. 1 second he's seated. The next, he's standing with Konstantin's wrist locked in his grip, twisted at an angle that makes the alpha's face go white. The movement was so fast, so precise, that most of the room didn't even see it happen. I said, Dmitri repeats, his voice still that same quiet tone. Remove your hand. You're breaking. Konstantin tries to jerk away, but Dmitri's grip doesn't budge. Protocol. Dmitri finishes for him. Yes, you touched a claimed Omega without permission. In front of the entire council, which means he twists slightly, and Konstantin makes a choke sound. I have every legal right to defend what's mine. Frenson, 1-1 was into second. This is Elder Miroslav starts to stand. Legal. Dimitri interrupts, his eyes never leaving Konstantin's. Check your own laws. Section 47, subsection 3. Any individual who physically contacts a bonded Omega without explicit consent from said Omega or their mate forfeits protection under pack law and may be subject to immediate defensive action. He smiles, cold and sharp. I've read your entire legal code 3 times. Have you? The silence is deafening. Now, Dimitri continues, you're going to apologize to my husband, and then you're going to walk out of this hall and never come near him again. Understand? Konstantin's jaw works. His pride wars with his pain, with the fear I can see creeping into his eyes. I'm an alpha, and he's mine. Dimitri's voice drops to something lethal, which means your rank, your strength, your biology, none of it matters. What matters is that you just publicly violated council law, and everyone in this room saw it. So either apologize and leave with your dignity intact, or the grip tightens. I demonstrate exactly why your ancestors feared humans. For a long, terrible moment, no one moves. Then Konstantin speaks, his voice strangled. I apologize. To him. Dmitri nods at me. Not to me. Konstantin's eyes meet mine, and I see it clearly now, the same fear I saw 3 months ago at the council office. I apologize, he says again, and this time it's directed at me. Dmitri releases him. Konstantin stumbles back, cradling his wrist, and then turns and walks quickly toward the exit. The door slams behind him. Elder Miroslav slowly sits back down. Well, he says, carefully, it seems the marriage is legitimate after all. It is. Dmitri agrees pleasantly, retaking his seat and casually placing his hand back on my spine. Any other concerns the council would like to address? No one speaks. Excellent. Dmitri picks up his water glass. Then, I believe we're done here. We don't speak until we're back in our apartment, the door locked behind us. Then Dmitri turns to me, his careful control finally cracking, and I see the fear underneath. Are you okay? His hands frame my face, checking me over. Did he hurt you? Did I kiss him. Hard. Desperate. Pouring everything I couldn't say in that council hall into the press of my lips against his. When I finally pull back, we're both breathing hard. I'm yours, I whisper. Really yours. Not because of a contract or fear or survival, but because I choose you. Every day, every moment, you. His eyes shine with something that might be tears. I love you, he says, and the words sound like they've been locked inside him for months. God, I love you so much it terrifies me. Good. I breathe against his mouth. Be terrified. Be dangerous. Be exactly who you are. Because I love you too. Monster and all. He kisses me again, softer this time. Reverent. Like I'm something precious he never expected to have. No more council dinners, I murmur. No more council dinners, he agrees. Just us, here. Safe. Safe. I repeat, and for the first time since I presented as Omega, I actually believe it. Because I'm not protected by an alpha's dominance or a pack's strength. I'm protected by a human who loves me enough to burn the world down. And that, I'm learning, is the most dangerous protection of all.